Well, thank you for that introduction, and this is my pleasure to be here. I'm happy to be speaking and meeting everybody through Zoom. This is a great opportunity to speak to a lot of people. And let me say what the summary and purpose of my presentation today is. It might be some review information for some and some new information included in there. But my purpose and you could say my disclaimer is that this presentation is for the health aficionado who wants to push the envelope of human longevity and with respect to having the ideal performance of their body when they pass the age of 85 years old, because it's that last 15 years of life. I'm saying a healthy person living a very healthful life can live between 95 and 105 or 97 to 107 years old. That's the normal lifespan for healthy people taking good care of their health. But what good is living longer if you're not going to have your full physical and mental faculties in that later years? And a lot of time, decline in poor health for people who are on relatively healthful diets but not ideal diets, but their decline doesn't show itself till after the age of 80 or 85. And I'm going to really discuss about how to maintain life habits through the majority of our life to maintain excellent health when we get to be 85 or 90 years old. So the last decade of our life, we still have our physical and mental faculties to enjoy our lives fully and as much as possible. So that's what this is about. So even when I talk about ideal nutrition and the nuances that make a Nutritarian diet better or more lifespan promoting, keep in mind, I'm not saying other diets and other speakers aren't helping people improve their diet and get better outcomes than the standard American diet. But I'm just taking things a bit further for people who want to perfect things to a higher degree to assure higher probability of achieving superior health and pushing that envelope of human longevity. So with that said, let's get started. And I'm going to share my screen and present a few slides. And some of these slides may be review for some of you, and some of them obviously are new, but we have to go through some basics to be able to fully understand everything I'm going to say or teach. Okay, I hope you can see that now. All right, so let's get started. And I'm going to leave time at the end for questions and answers, and leave time for you to take notes and to make sure you understand these basic principles. So we're talking here about the same factors and the same dietary, you could say, portfolio that prevents against heart disease, also protects against cancer, and also protects against dementia. I'm making it clear at the beginning that the maximal lifestyle to slow aging and keep excellent health protects against all these diseases, not one diet for cancer and another diet to prevent heart disease and another diet to prevent dementia. There's not one plan for each of these different chronic illnesses. There's one most helpful plan that prevents against heart disease, strokes, cancers, and dementia. And what food factors protect against one problem is going to also protect against another problem. So I could talk about cancer, but I'm also talking about heart disease. And when I'm talking about heart disease, I'm also talking about cancer, because what's good for the heart cells is good for the brain cells and is good for the liver cells and the breast cells and the prostate cells. So just to make that clear, and I'm also saying that the dietary portfolio that's most effective to extend lifespan, if we can design the diet and tweak it to be ideal and not make it just good or better, but really make it best, then it's also going to be most effective to reverse disease and to use therapeutically when people have lupus or psoriatic arthritis or ulcerative colitis or chronic fatigue syndrome, or have damage from a vaccine injury or a toxic exposure, or they have early stage cancers. In other words, by taking this diet to a higher degree of excellence, it becomes more effective therapeutically. And it also becomes more effective when people haven't lived healthfully for half their lives. They haven't lived healthfully for half their lives. They're eating fried foods, salt, sugar, they're overweight, and then should they make moderate changes in their diet to make the diet more appealing for the masses? Is that what they should do? Or should they adopt a degree of nutritional excellence to allow the body to repair and heal from damage they could have caused earlier in life that isn't even visible, that could result in manifesting itself in some disease process later on. So, and before we start, I'm also suggesting that it's decades of exposure to proper nutrition that leads for a greater performance at the end of your life. In other words, it's your lifetime exposure to salt that affects your risk of cardiovascular death. And salt also suppresses immune function. It leads to weakening of the endothelial lining of blood vessels. It suppresses immunity, increases risk of infection, and it increases cardiovascular death, irrespective of its effect on blood pressure by damaging the endothelial lining. Moving to a low salt diet once you have cardiovascular disease is mostly too late. It's your lifetime exposure to sodium that determines that risks we're talking about. So you have to start to cut that out early in life and not wait till it's too late. That's where I'm objecting to the advice of the American Heart Association and the American College of Cardiology, who tell people to cut back on salt intake when they have developed heart disease, cut back on salt intake and don't eat more than 1,500 milligrams of sodium a day. And I'm saying, how ridiculous advice is that? If it was right to eat 1,500 milligrams of sodium a day, then the whole population should be doing it. We shouldn't be doing it when you develop heart disease, because mostly it's too late then. You've developed an advanced stage. Heart disease and even high blood pressure is an advanced pathology. It's not an early pathology. You have pathology going on for decades before you develop even high blood pressure or develop signs of heart disease. That's like telling a person, if you develop lung cancer or COPD, you should quit smoking, which is an utterly ridiculous idea, because if smoking is bad for people who are sick, nobody should have started smoking to begin with. So my point with regard to all these things I'm talking about, remember the effects are going to be mitigated or lessened the later in life you choose to make those changes. So I'm encouraging people to make the changes now. And I'm also encouraging people to make a giant change in the way they're eating and their dietary performance, a giant change, not baby steps. Because baby steps don't work, because you keep consuming things that you're addicted to maintain your illicit love affair with these substances that are pulling you to eat them, which is causing overeating behavior, and it still prevents you from seeing the miraculous benefits. The whole miraculous self-healing properties of the body are fully manifest when you do it all the way, and then your taste buds improve, and your taste muscle improves, and you stop desiring those things that are causing you to overeat and may be sick. But if you keep dabbling in them, like having a cigarette or a glass, or going to drink on the weekends, or having cigarettes for one day a week, you're going to always keep wanting the things you keep eating.